S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2 is the upcoming 4th installment in the S.T.A.L.K.E.R series. The game is still being developed and as of now, self-published by GSC Game World. The game has a tentative release date of 2021 and will be released on the PC and Xbox Series X. Fans have been waiting for a follow-up to the S.T.A.L.K.E.R franchise for over a decade now, so let's break down everything we know about S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2, including the original cancelled concept, the teaser trailer, and more. As always, all the sources will be posted in the description below, so make sure to check those out and support those original articles. Also, make sure to follow me on Twitter at Fonct2, and with that out of the way, let's get into S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2. Let's jump into some quick history on the series. GSC Game World first introduced the S.T.A.L.K.E.R game series in 2007 with S.T.A.L.K.E.R Shadow of Chernobyl, which is seen as S.T.A.L.K.E.R 1. Then 1 year later, the sequel, S.T.A.L.K.E.R Clear Sky, was released, and then in 2009, S.T.A.L.K.E.R Call of Pripyat. For each entry, the publisher did change, so they never really had the same one, and the funding always was changing for the game. But the one constant is the game was only released on PC. And looking back now, even GSC says they really see it as S.T.A.L.K.E.R Shadow of Chernobyl as the first entry in the game, and Clear Sky and Call of Pripyat are more of DLCs or add-ons for the game and not full experiences. Now, because of the positive commercial and critical success of these original 3 titles, a true sequel to S.T.A.L.K.E.R was announced in August of 2010, with a release sometime in 2012. The announcement didn't have any big event to announce the game, and instead was announced on a random Friday the week before Gamescom, which didn't set the game off on a good footing. They also announced the game would be a multi-platform title for the first time in the franchise, and the CEO of the company gave one small quote at the reveal, which said, quote, "After the official sales of the series exceeded 4 million copies worldwide, we had no doubts left to start creating a new big game in the S.T.A.L.K.E.R universe. This will be the next chapter of the mega popular game players expect from us." And the original development of the game was riddled with problems, which started in 2011 when rumors were circulating around gaming publications that the founder and CEO of GSC Game World was going to shut down the studio due to personal reasons. The rumors went back and forth throughout 2011 and 2012 between the studio denying the rumors and journalists trying to validate these rumors, until finally in April of 2012 it was formally announced that GSC Game World was going to shut down and the CEO and founder was leaving the company. Because of this, the original S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2 game was cancelled, but that didn't stop a small team of workers who were working at GSC Game World and S.T.A.L.K.E.R to continue working on the game themselves because they already had started development. So during that time, they were looking for funding, and they were going to see if they could license out the IP from the founder of the company, which still did not end up working. And they were still not able to find funding, and they were no longer able to use the IP. The post from the team itself cited problems such as not being able to find investors for the project, so the team could no longer afford to work on the game. In another post, they even went further, saying the team had been working on the project without pay while trying to find investors, which did not end up working, so the studio transitioned into a new studio and went to work on a free-to-play MMO. And that, for the most part, was all we had heard about GSC, and fans just thought that would be the end of the S.T.A.L.K.E.R franchise until December of 2014. It was announced in a GameIndustry.biz article that GSC Game World was reforming and they were going to start developing new games again. And we even got more details about the cancelled 2010 S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2. So when asked about S.T.A.L.K.E.R, the question said, "So what happened to initiate the shutdown of GSC 4 years ago? Was it a purely financial decision?" GSC responded saying, "Well, it's a combination of issues, not just a financial one, and it was also a personal decision by our CEO. Actually, S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2 was in the middle of development, but we started to realize that we weren't ready to complete the game at the level of quality that we thought it should be. That was connected to a lack of specific people in the team. Clear Sky and Call of Pripyat were both closer to add-ons than standalone games. They were completely based on Shadow of Chernobyl. We realized that S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2 was different. It was going to take too much time by the time it was ready. it was definitely going to be out of date. We had scenarios all written by the guy who did the original Stalker, but that's just a scenario, not a full game. We were closer to the beginning of development than the end. It was a difficult decision because the team was working towards a full-scale game, but they and our CEO understood that the game just wouldn't be at the level we wanted from Stalker 2. There was also a problem getting interest and the right money from publishers. We were offered funding once we reached alpha. Actually, we would have been able to fund the entire development ourselves, but we still weren't sure we'd be able to sell it once we got it to alpha. So there were a lot of complex reasons that led to the decision to stop development. We were never closing down forever, but at the time we were aware of some pretty obvious obstacles that weren't going to be able to overcome. Maybe we needed more team leaders. Still, we'd built some levels, areas of the zone, some characters, a new engine, a completely new engine written from scratch, which was already a next-gen engine at the time, and everything is stored. We have all the assets, materials, and engine. So from what it sounds like, they didn't get the funding. It was hard to find a publisher, which we could see in their past. They were always changing the publisher of the game and could never really find a great relationship with any of these companies. So the funding wasn't there, and they would be too slow to develop a game that they really wanted to make, and if they released it in 2012, it would have felt like an older game than it already was. But they said they did store everything, and they could use that if they wanted moving forward. Now, oddly enough, the team did not start working on Stalker right away when they started developing games again. They instead started with Cancellation, which was released in 2016, and it wasn't until 2018 on the Cancellation Facebook page where the team announced they were finally going to revisit Stalker 2. And they posted a link which led to a new Stalker 2 website with a logo and a year of 2021, which many assumed to be the year of release. The Epic Games Director of Publishing gave a few more details about the game. He claims the game is currently in the design phase, and the only reason GSC Game World announced the game 3 years out of release was due to the studio hoping to secure a publisher at E3, which was just a week after their announcement. So they were hoping that they would get a lot of press, and this would lead to publishers reaching out after seeing the interest in the game. He went on to say that Stalker 2 is likely being made in Unreal Engine 4 and will not be using one of GSC's in-house engines, so there's a lot more possibilities there as well, and that a completely new team is being used on the game. And after all of this, it wasn't until March of 2020 when we got our first official look at the game, which was revealed on the 13th anniversary of the release of Stalker Shadow of Chernobyl. The team promised that we would get more news about Stalker 2 in 2020. They released an image which shows a forest and some cars and this darker atmosphere they're going with this game, and the team also promised this would be their most ambitious entry in the series so far. And their promise ended up being true. We did see more about the game in 2020. In July, during the Xbox Series X event, it was revealed that Stalker 2 will make its console debut on the Xbox Series X, and as of now, it seems like it will still be a complete exclusive, with no indication of the game coming to the PS5. On top of that, we also got a trailer and an updated logo for the game, along with a blog post on the Xbox website with some additional details about the game. Now, this post is a little long, but they give a lot of good information about the game, so we're just going to read it word for word. The post says, "From the very beginning of development, we were working hard to deliver the game both our fans and newcomers could enjoy. With our first video, we wanted to give you a taste of the atmosphere you will experience and the overview of the worlds you will travel through. The Stalker franchise has always been about the Zone. We see it as a standalone and hugely important character of the series. In the world we created, the nuclear disaster at the Chernobyl nuclear power plant in 1986 wasn't the only one to occur. The second explosion hit the reactor in 2006, creating the Zone as we know it. It's a dangerous place filled with mutated creatures, deadly radiation, and a strange anomalous energy. However, it's not just an isolated place that's dangerous by itself, but rather a threat to all of mankind. Still, there's no stopping for the explorers. Bounty hunters delve deep into the Zone, driven by its treasures and mysteries. Some of them are running from their past, others are blinded by money, and some are obsessed with finding the truth behind all the mysteries. No matter what makes their hearts pump, these people are known as Stalkers. You are one of them. With S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2, we are finally creating the world we've wanted to make since the very beginning. For the first time in the series, the zone will be yours to explore as a post-apocalyptic, open world, one of the biggest ones to date. This is our most immersive world yet, and we are crafting it with the love and passion this setting deserves. Using our most advanced technology to date, the zone has never been this gorgeous, and it's yours to conquer or to be lost in forever. Both monsters and factions that inhabit the zone are constantly interacting with each other. The previous S.T.A.L.K.E.R games introduced A-Life, a living world simulating system. The reimagined version of this system, which we call A-Life 2.0, will control the state of the world and the behavior of characters and mutants, making the zone ever-changing and truly alive. Countless events and encounters will happen every moment, even if you are not around to witness them with your own eyes. With S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2, we want every player to have a unique playthrough. It'll take much more than A-Life 2.0 to do that, as you are the author of your story. Putting aside the scale, the decisions you make will cause not only short-term outcomes, but influence the world itself. We are crafting an epic, branching story, accumulating in lots of different endings. You'll have to make tough choices regularly, and be brave enough to face the consequences. All of these things we are sharing today outline GSC's biggest game so far. We are absolutely dedicated to this project, and we are putting our hearts and souls into shaping this ultimate S.T.A.L.K.E.R experience. Xbox Series X made a good match for these ambitions with no compromises needed. The power of Microsoft's next-gen console complements GSC Game World's first ever console announcement perfectly. We are also happy to have our game come to the Xbox Game Pass on day one. All the new gamers out there can have a taste of what we make, fall in love with our universe, and become new stalkers. Caring about the players is the main pillar of our philosophy, and we are pleased that it is also true for Microsoft. And on top of that huge information, they also gave us a ton of screenshots for the game, and they really show off this darker atmosphere they've promised with a darker world, and really get fans in this mindset for what to expect from this new game. So it looks like this game is going to be everything fans want and more. It will be a true seamless open world, a non-linear story that will have consequences based on actions and multiple endings. The game will take place in the Chernobyl exclusion zone along with new and old locations. There's a new anomaly in the game, new artifacts, and mutants. Mod support will be available day one for the game on PC. The game will also be available on Xbox Game Pass day one, and will be released on PC as well. We still aren't sure about the release, but we can assume still sometime in 2021, as long as the pandemic did not delay anything. And for the most part, that is everything we know about S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2. As always, make sure to like and share this video, subscribe for weekly gaming news, and I will see you guys in the next one.